Looking at sine rule now. Just like SOHCAHTOA is a rule for right angle triangles, sine rule is a rule for non-right angle triangles. And the rule is this: a, little a, over sine a equals little b over sine b equals little c over sine c. So this rule has two equal signs in it. And we don't usually use lots of formulas with two equal signs in it. It's too complicated. So what we do instead is we just use that section of it. A over sine A equals B over sine B. We only use a section of the formula. Now, because of this, we must label the main information. And when I say the main information, I mean the things we know and trying to find. Okay. We must label the main info as A's and B's. So as A, and B, because we're not going to use the C stuff. It's pretty much just saying the ratio between the angle and the side opposite it are always going to be equal to each other. A and sine A, B and sine B, C and sine C. Okay, so it's really important that we label things correctly. So I'm going to give you an example and then we'll write some steps. And this is an example from your book. E.g. Got A, actually we won't even label it, 60, 50. Okay, so for this question it would be like find x. Yeah, so your first step, what do you think your first step is? Label, but we're going to be specific. The first two steps are going to be about labeling, okay? Step one, we're going to label the unknown as A or little a, okay? Capital A or little a, whether it's an angle or a side. So what are we going to label as A? As capital A? 60. And what are we going to label as little a? X. And this way, your formula always looks the same every time because your numbers are always going to be on the left-hand side of the formula. Step 2 is going to be label the pair which you know, pair meaning a side and an angle, as B and B. So for this, you have to be told 3 bits of information. You have to find the corresponding side or angle. Okay, you're always going to be given 3 bits of information at least. You've got to find one. So what are we going to label as B? As capital B. 50? Sorry, I usually say the capitals as just being B and then I say little for the little ones. Okay, and what becomes little b? 8. What do you think our third step is? Sub in and solve. All of these questions are just sub in and solve questions. The hard bit is just the labelling. That's the only challenging bit of this. So, other than a bit of algebra skills, we're going to use our calculators though. So, we've got our formula. A over sine A equals B over sine B. We then sub in the numbers. So we've got, what's little a? X over sine 60 equals 8 over sine 50. Does anyone know how this would be arranged? Yogi? Yeah, so we can move sine 60 to the other side. So what you actually do is you move both the sine 60 and the sine 50 to the other side, and then you move the sine 50 back again, is the official algebraic way of doing this. However, once you're here, you can solve this in your calculator. So once you're at this point, in your calculator, let's open it up for a sec. In your calculator, just in main even, okay? If we write, I will give you an e-activity for it later, but if we write x over sine, what was it, 60, over 8, so equals 8 over sine 50? Was it 50? Yes? I need you guys to help me out. Yes? Okay, if I press equals on that, is that going to do anything? It's just going to sort of simplify things down. It doesn't actually give me an answer. So instead, what do we do? Yeah? Highlight it. And then? Interactive, advanced, solve, and we're solving for x. And that gives us our answer. Could you guys please try that on your calculator? You try and do that right now. Can everyone do that on their calculator? Can you write it quickly into your notes just in case you forget? So in your calculator? No. Always been a calculator. You might have to fill that into there, non-calculator, but you never have to find an answer with that one. So in your calculator, in main, you write the formula. You highlight and you go interactive, advanced, solve, and OK. Now, you must highlight the bit on the left here, like not your answer after you press execute. It has to be, you highlight the things on the left. Interactive, advanced, solve. Josh, do you still have your notes from there, last year? It's exactly the same. I'm actually copying it today, which I don't usually do, in case you want to copy it. All right. Everyone okay with that? Make sense? Yeah? Can we try another couple? 9.04 centimetres. Yep. So just go x. Now, if you wanted to use your little scientific one, which I do not recommend, you would have to write x equals 8 times sine 60 over sine 50 into your calculator, and you have to know how to rearrange. But easier just to put this into your calculator. That line of working out is the necessary one to get full marks. And so you just say x equals, what did we say it was? 9.04 centimetres. 2 decimal places. Jack? You can. So if you have this E activity, I'll try and give it to the rest of you if you don't. I think there'll only be a couple of people who don't. Miss Rocky might have given it to some people too. Can you put your hand up if you don't have this E activity? It looks like it's called 2CD help. Yeah. Okay. I'll get this to you guys in the next couple of days. So what you can do in this is it says sine rule here. You press solve and then you sub in the numbers. So A was we don't know. We're trying to find it. So we click that button on there. Capital A was 60. B was what? 8. And capital B was 50. And see how down the sides here we can highlight the little dots there? The one we're looking for is the one we highlight. So we're saying we want to find little a. And so I click solve and it gets my answer there. Okay? Now, just quickly, if I press solve now, my answer's different. Why is my answer different? No, it's still A. What's wrong with my calculator? See how down the bottom it says rad, okay? Down the bottom left it needs to say degrees. If you pick on any of the other ones, it's still going to give you an answer. It's just going to give you the wrong answer, okay? So you need to make sure your calculator's always on degrees, okay? Now, if you are someone who plays games on their calculator, often that's fine as long as you're not doing it in my class, okay? But often those things change the settings on your calculator. So just before your exam, don't go and play Mario Kart or whatever there is there and mess up your calculator settings, okay? So beware if you do play a game. I don't know. I'm not going to teach you, that's for sure. All right? So make sure it's on degrees. I will give you guys that when I've got the cable, okay? So make sure you got your class pad. Luke as well. Ben, you've got your class pad. Yeah. So you guys, tomorrow, or for the next lesson, I'll try and give it to you then, okay? Anyone else? Have you got it on yours? Okay, you need to bring your calculator tomorrow. Oh, next lesson. All right. Let's do a couple of examples. That's it. That's all it is. It just gets a bit harder with some questions. So let's have a look at this one. Okay, can you guys try these couple? Yeah, in your journal. All right, this one. Yes, but I want not the notes. Well, other than I just got to actually set them up again. All right. I want someone to work out what's the problem with this question.
Oh.
What's the problem with this question? Joe?
Oh yeah. There's a capital A and a lowercase a, but there's no side for the other angle.
Good. So you don't know the side for the other angle?
There's no angle for the unknown side.
Good. There's no angle for the unknown side. You need to have two sets. You need to have two sets which have the same letter. Not a C. You only have A's and B's. So if you don't have an angle for that side, what do we have to work out? Jack? Perfect. And what would that equal? Perfect. So we have to change this. We have to go, okay, 78. We now know that. All right, what are we going to label what? Capital A is going to be 78. And X is going to be? Good. What about 40? Capital B. What about? And 8 is going to be lowercase b. What about 62? It doesn't matter, but it would be capital C if we wanted to label it. Okay, but we don't need to, so let's not. No. Because you just relabel it. So, because for this, all you need are two sets of angles and sides which you know, and which one of them missing. One of them is unknown. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at this. A over sine A equals B over sine B. Can you guys answer this for yourselves, please? Music. All right, guys, quickly. We're just going to do one more example of this, then we're done with our notes. Okay, so tell me what we put into the first line. What over what? X over sine 78 equals 8 over sine 40. And then X equals?
1/7.
Centimetres. Not squared. Squared's only area.
Oh, okay.
All right? Yes. You do as a unit smart. Cameron, you right? Ah, I know. All right, last one, because we're just going to find an angle. Make sure we can find an angle. Okay? So, let's trace. X, 3.5, 80, 4.1. We just say that we always label the unknown as A and the other ones as B. And that way the form that you've always got your unknown on the left-hand side. You could still work it out the other way, but if we just set up those rules, that's easier. Yeah. Yeah. All right, what are we going to label as A, B? What are we going to label as A? Capital A. X, lowercase a. Capital B. And lowercase b. Good. So, 3.5 over sine X equals 4.1 over sine 80. That's your line of working out you must show. Now this one, if you want to see the way of algebraically showing it, it's really hard, okay? We have to move 3.5 next to sine 80 and the 4.1 next to sine X. And then we need to move the 4.1 over to the other side. So we end up with 3.5 sine 80 over 4.1 equals sine X. How do I get rid of the sine?
Sine negative.
Other side, inverse sine. Do you really want to do that? The only bit of working out you have to show to get full marks is that. Does anyone really want to do all that algebra? No. So instead we just find our answer here. X equals 57.21 degrees. And that's our answer. That's all you need to show. So, which calculator do you reckon you should use with this? Your class pad. You go for it, Mitchell. Alright. Now, officially, for 2CD questions, although sometimes we make a mistake, no, sometimes we make a mistake, but officially, it does say in your syllabus that acute angles have to be used. What's acute angles mean? Less than 90 degrees. So all of your answers for these should be less than 90 degrees. And in your WACE exam, it will be. Has to be. Okay? Pardon? Okay. Was in what? I don't know what that is. Oh, what's an acute angle? Gotcha. Okay. Your homework is... Homework. Well, that means you can do a whole heap. So, yeah. That's it. 2D booklet. Page 140. Not booklet. Book. Page 149. Questions. Can I borrow someone's book? 2D. Questions 1 to 9, and then questions 10 to 14, and then questions 16, 17. Yes. And then questions 16 to 17. So you're pretty much doing questions 1 to 17, but not 10 or 15. So you're not doing question... Oh, sorry, not 10. Sorry, 11 to 14. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So you're pretty much doing 1 to 17, not 10 and 15. You could write it that way if you wanted to. No. They're all single questions. All right, you've got heaps of work to do. You can get started on it now.